Good evening. Welcome to the live session for the course Affective Computing. I hope I'm audible. Shameen, can you please confirm once? Am I audible? Uh, okay, so let's start. So today's live session is going to be the summary session. I think more people are joining, so we should wait for another 2 to 3 minutes before starting the session. So, this session is going to be more of a summary session, and the rest of the sessions that we had were more like a problem solving session. But today we are going to discuss some of the most important topics which I felt we can revise those topics and we can like cover the whole from week 1 to week 12 content so that it will be helpful for your exams as well. Great. So, since we only have 2 hours, I won't be able to cover each and every topic, but I will tell you what the is all about and what is the flow of the course, right? So, touching upon the most, I would say some topics are really interesting and very important, and we can discuss those. So, I think we should start. More people can join meanwhile. Okay. So, this is the course outline for our Affective Computing course, which starts with week 1, which talks about the fundamentals of affective computing. Now, what exactly is affective computing? What are the components? How is it interdisciplinary, etc. etc. So many major topics are discussed. Then second week talks about the emotion theory and emotional design. I think this is where the actual um, the emotional representation starts. So this is a very useful week content, I would say. We will discuss about different emotion representations, the categorical model, the dimensional model, and so on. Week 3 talks about the experimental design, which actually tells us how to conduct the experiments, what are the research and development tools, right? So, in order to capture those emotions or in order to design an experiment, what should be taken care of? So, this is just the basic layout for week 3. Now, week 4, we talked about emotions and facial expressions. Now, week by week, we will be discussing about different modalities which uh, which can be used to capture the affect or the emotional component of a person, right? um, so week 4 we talk about the facial expressions. Week 5 we talk about the voice modality. Week 6 talks about the text. Your messages or language can also bear some kind of emotion, so that can also be used. Then physiological signals. What can be the various types of physiological signals that can be used for affect sensing? Then week 8 talks about the multimodal emotion recognition. So what happens is multimodal means multiple modalities. So we are not just using the voice modality, we are also using like facial expressions. Also we are using the combination of different modalities that we discussed above. Now, week 9 talks about the emotional empathy in agents or robots. So, how can we make the robots or the agents more emotionally empathetic? Empathetic means they should be able to sense what the other person is feeling while communicating with a human being or subject. So, they should be able to sense and then respond as well accordingly, and what kind of empathy they can show in what kind of situation. So we will just briefly talk about this topic. And week 10 was more of what kind of adaptations and what kind of challenges are there for the this agents in order to proceed smoothly with the empathy based responses. Then week 11 was a more of a case study, which is which talks about the EVAs, which is emotional virtual personal assistants. So assistants like Siri or Alexa, or um, maybe your tutors, which are affective tutors, right? So these are the some examples for the EVAs. uh, Also talking about the top very important aspect of affective computing, which is the ethics in EVA. Also, week 12, which is going to be the session is going to be tomorrow, so it talks about different ethical, legal and social implications of effective computing, right? So if you guys have not attended the previous sessions, I would suggest you to check the YouTube channel out. So it has all the playlist, okay, and you can just revise the topics. Also, it might be very slow for you, so just 2x the speed and go through it, right? And I think also if you go through the slides, that would be sufficient. So Kushagra, you can go through the slides. I think I have covered a lot of content in those. So let's start. So first, as I mentioned, is the fundamentals of effective computing. So let's talk about why is emotion important. Yeah. So emotions, why do we actually need emotions in machines? Because it makes the experience better. Just to summarize, right? Because as we humans communicate, we come to a decision, learning and social interaction. The systems, if we are talking to a, let's say, robot, so if it gives very robotic responses or very cold responses, you won't be you won't like to interact with it more. So we want to change those experience, so that we want to make the machines more emotionally aware. That is where the emotion component comes. So emotional aware systems can improve the e-learning. Let's say you are getting feedback from a tutor, and then you will get to know that, okay, I am lacking in this area. But if the agent is directly just popping out a notification like you are lacking or so, without any emotional content, it won't be helping you that much. So you can adapt the content based, or let's say a student is slightly slower to grasp the concept, so frustration is there, visible frustration, so you can slow down the contents and etc. So these systems actually we want to design so that they are able to adapt, they are able to recognize the emotions of the the person they are interacting with, and to increase the engagement. A person will be engaged if you like respond more humane, uh, in a humane manner. Second is healthcare, monitoring stress or even mood, and also it finds some applications in uh, the uh, yeah. So sorry. So it healthcare, it also finds some applications in the let's say some person is not able to communicate, they have some, for some reason they cannot talk. So there can be some system which can sense the emotional aspect. Let's say they are feeling much pain, so they can sense that the person is in visible pain, so we need to maybe put the increase the medication or so. So in healthcare it can be a use case. So then customer service includes empathetic virtual assistants. Let's say you're shopping on a platform, or you have some complaint. Let's say your laptop stopped working and it's not working, so you are chatting with just chatbot would not be that much helpful. And if the bot is showing some kind of empathy, you will be more involved in the conversation and you will feel more heard. So this actually increases the customer retention and helps the businesses to grow. Then comes the entertainment part, so adaptive gaming or movies, also maybe some interactive video is there, right? Which changes according to your mood or your expressions or your uh, cues. So yeah, there are so many use cases for these affective systems. That is why we want affective computing. So affective computing, to define formally, it is a branch of AI that focuses on developing systems and devices that can recognize, interpret, and simulate and respond to human emotions. So basically, recognize, these are four main components. Recognize means to recognize what the other person is feeling, to detect what I am feeling. Interpret, it's not just about the sensors, it sensors are just capturing, but on the back end you need to analyze what the person is feeling, so we are interpreting as well. Third is simulate. Simulate means to mimic, so the robot should be able to mimic the expressions as well. Let's say you're talking to some robot, then if it is if it is cracking a joke but not smiling or laughing, it would not be funny, right? So if it is able to laugh, mimic the laughter as well, so it is more effective. And respond to human emotions, so it could show emotions as well. Like if I am sad, then the agent should be able to respond in a manner that I feel comforted. Okay, it was introduced by Professor Rosalind Picard, and in her book Affective Computing. And what are the objectives? We want to understand the emotions, right? Through different modalities: text, voice, facial expressions, physiology, etc. Then we want to model emotions, like this is the interpretation, right? So using ML AI models, we are able to interpret those signals, and we can label them that this is happiness or this is sadness. Now we also want to create systems that respond empathetically or adaptively, so based on the emotional input. And it ultimately, the goal is to enhance the HCI component, which makes the conversations feel more natural, personalized, engaging, and like useful, I would say fruitful. So what are the key components of effective computing? Again, same thing. Detection. First is detection. Second is modeling. Modeling means to use some kind of DL model or ML model. We are able to kind of detect what signifies what, right? Then how to represent emotions. Then emotional expression, to show the expressions, to show emotions via avatars, robots, voices. Then emotion adaptation, so adapt the behavior, system's behavior based on user emotion. It shouldn't be the case that I'm interacting with Siri and it should behave, it should respond to my question in the same way as it is responding to yours. So every person is different, right? Also, there are some tools and techniques which are associated. So what can we use? We can basically have different sensors for capturing the data. So camera can be there, microphone can be there, physiological signals to capture. These sensors are there: EEG, GSR, PPG, accelerometers, right? Accelerometers are actually not related with emotions, but for arousal or so we can kind of use it. Machine learning, SVM, CNN, or RNN or transformer based models to model the data. Then NLP to model the text, right? Speech processing, tone, pitch, loudness, these are the characteristics. Computer vision, we can use the AUs, which we will be covering one by one, okay? So the nature of this affective computing is interdisciplinary. We borrow some concepts from computer science, from psychology, from neuroscience, how neurons in our brains work, because ultimately we want to model that only, right? Then the cognitive science. Cognitive means how much the thinking capability of your brain, so it is related to that. Then human computer interaction, like what are the interfaces, or how to create those interfaces for effective communication between a human and a machine. So it is interdisciplinary. Then what are the real world applications? We are actually living in this AI era, so we already have so many examples: Siri, Alexa, Google Assistant for emotional aware speech responses. Then driver monitoring, let's say you're feeling more sleepy, so there is a chance that your voice will be slightly lower pitch or more relaxed, so fatigue can be detected. Virtual therapists or chatbots, the people who are not very comfortable with talking to strangers, or even we can say with their friends, they're not extroverts, so they usually tend to talk to some maybe virtual therapist. And also mental health is a taboo, so not many people want to disclose or whatever, so this can be a good alternative. And effective tutoring systems, some students which need assistance, let's say this system is detecting that the person is not interested in the lecture, so they can just pop up some nice visuals, or design the curriculum accordingly, or design the pace accordingly. So this is also a part of effective computing. So an application basically. So this was all about the week 1, which talks about the fundamentals. Now this is the most important part, I would say: emotion theory and emotional design. So what exactly are emotions? We know what emotions are, but to define it accurately, happiness is what? We cannot define in using some kind of there are no rules for this. Happiness may vary for me, for you it might be different, right? So um, Ajay sir, can you please mute? Can I mute? Okay. Okay, fine. So yeah, emotions are basically complex physiological and psychological states. Okay, so it is in your brain as well. You feel happy, and also your body responds in a that according to that. So it is, number one, why it is difficult, because it is a subjective experience, how we feel. Second is physiological responses. Physiological means your heart rate might increase, your sweat glands might be more activated, and your behavioral expressions might vary. So facial expressions, voice tone, like that. Okay. So in effective computing, we want to model emotions. What exactly modeling means is to represent. Sorry. So to represent. We want to represent. See, machines only understand numbers, so you cannot tell a computer that I'm feeling happy. It needs some kind of numbers. So how can we represent emotions with numbers? So this is okay. So Sherry, basically this session is an additional session, so I'm just summarizing the whole content of the course. So currently we are talking about the week 2 content. I will be covering up to week 12. So it is just to provide an overview of what we went through in the course and some important concepts I'm explaining. Okay, so if you have any doubts in the concepts, please ask me. And also, if you have missed the previous lectures, live sessions, yeah, this is week 2 currently, yes. And if you have missed the previous lectures, you can go and check the playlist. Even on YouTube, you can search for Effective Computing live sessions, and you will find my YouTube channel. So I have uploaded all the recorded sessions, right? So let's get back to the emotions. We ultimately want to use some kind of numeric representation. So there are basically two types of models how we can represent emotions. Okay. So first is categorical model. Second is dimensional model. So do you understand the difference between discrete and continuous? So discrete is, I have formulated 6 categories. So first is sadness, anger, surprise, fear, disgust, or happiness. So if there, let's say I'm feeling something and I want to categorize give it a label. What am I feeling? So I can choose out of these 6 labels, and then I can say, okay, I am feeling happy, right? There is no concept of half happy, 50% happy. No, it is just either happy or fear or disgust. So 6 categories are predefined categories. So these are predefined. And now you can ask me, like, how is it numerical? You can always give some kind of number to every category. So that is how we do in machine learning, deep learning, right? So let's say I represent this by 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, I can give this numeric labels corresponding to that, and then my machine can predict, okay, this is number 5, right? This is the one way of representing emotions. Second is dimensional. Let's say I want to tell you, okay, give me the how are you feeling. So you can tell me, I am, I can represent the emotions something like x comma y. So if I ask you the position, the location of your place, location of your home, you can just tell me the latitude and longitude, right? So you're just giving me the coordinates, which is a numeric representation, x comma y. Similarly, we can also represent emotions using x comma y, where the x axis is the valence, and the y axis represents the arousal. uh, I no, I have uploaded the all the videos. Maybe in the playlist it might not be there, but you should check out. You should check out the whole playlist. There is a playlist named as I think Affective Computing 2025 or so. I will just check again. So Kushagra, you will find all the videos there. Now week 11 I also uploaded. Also week up to week 11 I have uploaded. Week 12 is going to be tomorrow. So if you want to attend live, please join 6 to 8. And otherwise I will instantly upload. I think your exam is on 26th, right? Okay, so Sherry, I suppose you have not attended any sessions. So this is the live sessions that we have every week, Tuesday 6 to 8. Now tomorrow is going to be the last session, and every week we cover that week's content. Like there are some in your curriculum, there are weeks divided, right? So every week talks about a certain topic. So during that we discussed a few previous year's questions from the assignments of the previous editions of this course, also some extra questions, so that we are able to cover the some very important concepts related to affective computing. So more of a problem solving approach. Today, since it is going to be the summary session, I have not used the questions answer format. It's just the important concepts, so that you get the just a revision. Lectures are not enough. Which lectures are you talking about? The course lectures? So uh, okay, so the format of the exam is mostly going to be similar to your assignment questions. So I think it is going to be MCQs. You can still ask the coordinators, because I am not associated with the examination team. Okay, so in these sessions, if you, I think if you want to prepare and if you want to score well, I would say that you must have watched all the course videos, right? And if you attend the lectures, these my sessions as well, I think we have covered enough concepts for you to crack the answers. So one suggestion I already mentioned, that if you, since I have to like make people understand, I keep the discussion usually very slow. So you can just 2x and 2x the speed and then watch. Also, the this presentations, everything is uploaded on a Google Drive folder, and it must be shared with you, I think. um, Everybody has the access, and if even if you go through the PPTs, I think that is also good. Okay. Okay, any other question? What was your question? How can we reach to the coordinators? You can mail them. I think there must be some support or some forum, discussion forum. If you upload on the discussion forum as well, then you might also get the answers. They also respond. Okay. And your question was, what is valence, right? Okay. So, Sherry, valence basically means the feeling of pleasantness or the happiness or the positive or negative. So, every emotion has some kind of this valence term associated. Let's say positivity or negativity associated. Let's say you're stressed. Stress is associated with negativity, right? And if you're talking about happiness, it is a positive emotion. Relaxed is a positive emotion. Similarly, fear or anger, they are negative emotions. So negative emotions lie on this side and positive emotions lie on this side of this quadrant. So we have just x comma y, so it is like v comma a. Arousal means the state of excitement. Let's say, we will actually discuss in a while, so if you listen to it, you will be able to understand. So, firstly, let's discuss in detail about the categorical model. As I already explained, it categorizes emotions into a finite set of basic universal categories. Okay, so the values can be happy, sad, anger, disgust, fear, and surprise. So these are common emotions, which are the six basic categories which were given by Paul Ekman. It is very like popular model where we use six categories to model the emotions. Now these are discrete categories and mutually exclusive. That means if you are saying that a person is happy, then it can only have only one label. ऐसा नहीं होगा कि the person is happy and sad at the same time. It cannot be there, right? Or happy or angry at the same time. No. If the person is angry, only anger is there. It is mutually exclusive. Only one emotion can be there at a time. And what are the pros of this approach? It is very intuitive. Usually in like layman, if you are telling someone how you are feeling, you won't say I'm feeling 1.3 comma 4.3 happy. You just say you're feeling happy, right? So it is very intuitive and very easy to understand, and it is useful in facial expression recognition, where distinct facial patterns map to specific emotions. If there is distinction, like if I smile, then mostly it is going to be related with happiness. That means it is only related to happiness, and it is very easy, simple, and straightforward. But the cons are, it oversimplifies emotions. Let's say I'm just smiling, but that does not always mean I'm happy. I might be relaxed, I might be if I'm not smiling, that does not mean I'm sad. I might be just concentrating on something. Or so it this model, since there are only six categories, but emotions are much more complex, so it does not capture the mixed or subtle feelings, right? It is just the proper six categories. So it also does not consider intensity or similarity between emotions. Also, it is not capturing how happy or how sad. Like, you can be a little sad, little on the sad side, but slightly happy. So these slightly or little it does not consider, but we can represent those slight or subtle expressions using the numeric method, which is the dimensional model we will see. So example, if somebody is smiling, you can just classify the straightforward as happiness. Okay? Then the dimensional model. It is very useful to visualize and categorize a wide range of emotions. So based on two primary dimensions. First is valence and arousal. Valence is the positivity or the negativity of the emotion, right? And arousal refers to the physiological activation. So basically, when you are feeling anxious, your heart rate is increased, right? So you are aroused. But if you are in a relaxed state, your heart rate is slightly lower, right? So your body is calm. So you can say that this is a low arousal state or sleepiness state. So circumplex, why do we call it a circumplex model? Because circular arrangement is there. There are four quadrants, right? So, and the circular arrangement of emotions around these dimensions. So this model says that the emotions exist on a continuous spectrum rather than discrete categories. So now we will see some examples. Also, emotions that share similar valence and arousal characteristics are located close to each other. The distance between two similar emotions is very less. Okay. So let's say angry and fear. So angry and fear. Uh, how do we say that the person is angry? Angry, is it a happy emotion or sad emotion, like negative emotion or positive? This is a negative emotion, right? Same for fear also. This is a negative emotion. And arousal, if you are if you are scared of something, mostly your heart rate will increase. You will have sweaty palms. So you have high arousal, right? And also in anger, you are like shouting at someone and you are highly excited state. You are in highly excited state. So this is also high arousal. So now we will see we are lying on which quadrant. This is unpleasant, that means negative valence. This is positive valence. This is positive activation, means high activation, and this is low activation. So we are lying here, which is positive and negative. So basically this is valence, this is arousal. So that is how we model our emotions. Let's see another example. If you want to say sadness, so sad and depressed are kind of negative emotions, right? Both are negative. And but are they excited? Like when you are sad, are you excited? No, we are generally calm. We are like very calm, but we are negatively calm, right? So the activation is negative or less, so we lie on this quadrant. That is how we model our different emotions. You can also see more examples. Also, if you look at it, two very similar emotions lie very close to each other, and some emotions which are very different, they lie on the opposite spectrum, opposite quadrants. Okay, so this is very you can say intuitive method to represent emotions. So what are the pros and what are the benefits of using this model? So it allows for the interpolation of emotions. Let's say you previously you said either you are happy or you are sad, but you might be slightly happy, slightly sad. There can exist a state because, as I mentioned, human emotions are very complex. So it can also represent primary or blended emotions between two primary emotions. Okay, then a relaxed state, let's say for example we have low arousal and positive valence. Just to give an example, so low arousal, that means this area represents low arousal, and relaxation is positive. So this and this, so what is the common area? This quadrant. So relaxation lies in this quadrant. That is how we determine. Okay, now there is another model, which is, till now we saw two models. First is categorical, second is VA model, which is valence arousal model. Now valence arousal and dominance model. Valence arousal and dominance. So what is dominance? Dominance basically means how controlling you are, right? um, just we saw an example, fear and anger. If both have these characteristics, which is high arousal and negative valence, then how can you differentiate between these two emotions? So we need a third dimension. uh, if you look at it, you can see this is 0, right? So let's draw a plane which is passing through, kind of, if you can imagine this 3D plane, just dividing it into half. So now if you see, the fear is lying below this plane and anger is above. Now you will be able to understand the difference. So dominance level is higher. So now how can we represent higher in anger? So VAD, this is for anger and this is for fear. Valence is negative, negative. Arousal is positive and positive. Whereas dominance is, anger is positive, like you're dominating, but fear is negative. That is how we are able to differentiate between two. Okay. So yeah, these are the two models, and the difference is just another axis to differentiate it between two different differentiate between two different uh, I mean similar actually models, emotions actually. Okay, so here you are able to differentiate. Another example can be confident and content. So confident is also positive, valence, moderate arousal, but dominance level is confident, you are more dominant, and content, like you are more on the submissive side. That is it. So, Sherry, I hope you are understanding the concept of this representation of emotions. Okay, so next we come to the week 3 content, which is experimental design. How do we uh, collect this data? How do we collect the emotional data? What are the tools? What are the research development tools available, and so on? So, some important topic includes the affect elicitation. How do we trigger emotions? So, there are multiple methods. Firstly, let's understand what elicitation exactly means. It means that we want to intentionally induce emotions in the participants to collect emotional responses for modeling or analysis. Now you want to design a model which um, now you want to like design a model which is able to differentiate or differentiate between different emotions, right? So how to collect that data? You obviously, to train a model you need labels. So how are you going to generate those labels? Like how are you going to collect happy data or sad data? There are few methods. First is of active emotion elicitation. So I'll write it down. So basically we have active and passive, two methods. As the name suggests, in active, the, the participant in the survey, or let's say you ask your friend to mimic an emotion. Let's say you want to create a data set which has different emotions available in that. Now, how will you collect happy? You will tell me that, Akanksha, please mimic a happy face. So I will just smile. So this is a happy instance that you just created. Secondly, you can tell me, do you know how to mimic a sad face? So I will just say I'm sad. This is the acted data set. Okay, so other methods are also there. The participant, as the name suggests, active means that you are actively participating. Like I'm not just looking at something, I'm actually doing what the organizer is telling me to do, right? So the participant is directly involved in generating or recalling emotions in through active engagement or cognitive processes. And ma'am, are the lecture slides different from the summary session slides? Actually, I have created a mixture of some content. So it is not exactly the same. The topics are definitely the same. Okay. So this is more of a. I couldn't find your previous lectures. So I think I will share the link if you. Yeah, Kushagra, I have already shared the PDFs, these PPTs. This is on a shared drive folder. I think the team must have shared with you all. So I you don't have access? It's not possible actually. They must have shared with you all. Whoever has registered for the course, you must have the access. Please check the I think the where the week's content is displayed. So there also it can be displayed. I'm not sure because I don't know where they are sharing. So there is a Google Drive link where all the lectures are uploaded. So let me just talk to the. Actually, you guys can post on the forum and get the access to every PDF, because every session I upload the PDF. So please post on the forum or even mail the TAs or organizer. I am not sure आपको किसको mail करना चाहिए, because I don't have the. Actually, I'm not a part of that team, so I cannot tell you. Uh, So just let me finish this talk and I will share. Okay, I will share the Google Drive link. Sure. Okay, so we were talking about the affect elicitation. Elicitation का मतलब होता है पैदा करना, ठीक है? So how to generate emotions or in a person. So if you are able to induce the emotion in the other person, then you can just capture the, let's say my facial expressions are being captured. So you tell me to act that expression, I can do that for you, and you can create a data set from that, right? um, Also there are some other methods, which is first is emotional recall. Let's say I tell you, think about a moment where you felt extreme joy. Let's say when you got the scholarship, so you were happy. So when you will think about it, you will feel happy, right? Then mental imagery. So I'm putting you in a certain situation that imagine being trapped in a dark room. Now you will start feeling some kind of scary feeling, right? So it is, I'm inducing that in your mind. Your imagination is taking up the front seat, right? So interactive games or tasks. So I can tell you that you need to solve this puzzle in 1 minute. You have 1 minute, so you will be trying to solve the puzzle in 1 minute, and it might cause you frustration. So let's say I want to capture frustration, so I can just capture your face, like while you are doing that. So these time constraint problem solving. So different emotions can be captured using different triggers. So these are different triggers that you can give to the other person, okay? And since the person is directly doing the thing that you are asking them, let's say role playing or social interaction. Let's say you want ki argue with your friend. So when you are arguing with your friend, it represents angry emotion. Then public speaking or social stress. I tell you that there are 100 people waiting outside, and you have to tell them that your tell them about your project. So I might be scared to talk in front of a lot of people. So you are being recorded, you are very nervous, so that is how I can capture the nervousness. Then feedback based elicitation. You performed worse than the group average, and then the person will feel bad about it, right? So you can capture the negative emotion. What are the pros? Pros are like, this is a more authentic approach, right? This is a more authentic, like you are actually inducing the emotions, and they are giving the intense responses back, and it can be adapted to personal relevance. So let's say I know that Kushagra is triggered by some, let's say for him the happy memory will be his getting a scholarship, ठीक है? और for Yasmin it can be different. For Sherry it might be something, um, attending going to a trip. So your happy memory will be different. So I can tell Kushagra that remember the time you bought a new car. So it will, I can induce happiness. And then I can talk to Sherry that you remember when you went for a trip. So I am giving different prompts to different person, but my intention is that to induce happiness. Now it can so this is where I meant personal relevance. So I am actually including your personal preferences in this to design my prompts. It's not like I'm telling everyone remember when you bought a car. Not everyone would have bought a car, right? Then the cons. Okay, but emotions are being triggered, so how are they authentic? And if they are not triggered, then they're authentic. So Sherry, there are actually three methods to capture. We will actually talk about that, okay? There are three kinds of data set. So first data set is called acted. Second is called I forgot the name, but it means that it is passively recorded, okay? And the third one is naturalistic. So natural, every dataset has their own pros and cons. That is why we the thing that you are talking about, it is the naturalistic setting. Like let's say people are just talking, like there is a park and people are just interacting with each other. Then if somebody is angry, that means there is something genuinely, they are angry. Or if they are happy, they're laughing, that means due to some natural conversation they are laughing, right? But it is not very easy to capture those emotions. ठीक है, that is why we do not usually go for naturalistic. Yeah, active means you are inducing, like it's not forcing. Forcing can be just one thing. Acted means you are mimicking. Some professional actor is doing that. Active is different. Active is meaning that I told you to think about something. Now the emotion is genuine only. So when you will think about going to a trip, you remember happy memories from the trip, you will feel happy, and then there will be a smile on your face. That smile will be a genuine reaction. It won't be a mimicking something, right? So this is the difference between acted is a different thing and active is a different thing. Okay? The cons associated with active emotional elicitation is that, again, responses can vary across individuals. Actually, we don't know which person likes what. So what should be like told to different people, है ना? And it is very hard to standardize and replicate. I want to let's say I tell you कि think about the trip. Now you will be very happy first time. ठीक है? Now I again tell you that Sherry, think about that trip you went. Now you will say, okay, what are you talking about? You're just repeating the same stuff. You won't feel that much happiness again and again. So it is very difficult to replicate. Okay? So the next approach is called the passive emotional elicitation. So it is triggered using a standard image or video. So standard external stimuli where the participant remains passive. So I'm not telling you to remember something or act or do something. I just tell you that, see, I will play something on your screen. You just have to watch and I will record your face expressions. ठीक है? So let's say you are just playing a very scary video and there is something, एकदम से कोई भूत आ रहा है एकदम, and you will be scared, right? So you will feel like this, and then your facial expressions will be captured. That will also be a genuine reaction, right? And this thing will be very easy to standardize because I'm showing everyone the same prompt, the same stimulus, the same video, and it is, since it is scary, then most of the people will be scared only. So it is designed to induce the fear in you. ठीक है? So these are easier to standardize and replicate. Then comes the multimedia. We can use different standardized images. So there is a data set which is called the International Affective Picture System. ठीक है? तो इसमें कुछ, there are some images. Let's say there can be one image of a baby laughing, like, so you will feel very happy about it. So it is meant to induce happiness. But then there can be an image with somebody's hand is cut and blood is flowing. So it is very disgusting. You might feel even fear. So there's some standard images are there to induce some standard emotions. So then you can capture the response. But you are not actively participating. You're just passively watching the videos or the stimulus. Same goes for sound or music clips. Do you know, like, even if you watch a horror movie and if you remove the background music, it is very funny. So everything is just because of the suspenseful music that is being like played in the background. So it plays an important role. Similarly, you can present just the music. Let's say there is a haunting melody, you will slightly feel like uncomfortable or you will feel scared. Similarly, chat gpt is trained like this. What exactly are you asking about? Emotional modeling. Actually, since chat gpt is based on nlp, so yes, it recognizes the emotions. If you write chat gpt like, today I'm feeling so sad, so it will respond in a way that it will try to comfort you. Okay, everything will be fine. So it is detecting the emotion. Now on the back end there is a lot of stuff going on, since chat gpt is a large language model, but essentially emotional modeling is a part of it. It can sense the emotion. If you give some text And if you tell ChatGPT that please tell me the emotion associated, it will be able to tell you. ठीक है. अफेक्टिव कंप्यूटिंग ही बोल सकते हैं एवरीथिंग. लाइक अफेक्टिव कंप्यूटिंग इज़ एन अम्ब्रेला टर्म. ओके. अफेक्टिव कंप्यूटिंग मीन्स whenever there is some kind of emotions involved, right, some kind of sentiments involved, so you can use the umbrella term affective, but mostly we talk about the interaction between human computer. So in case of chat gpt as well, chat gpt is also an interface, right? You're talking to a chatbot. It is just a smart version of chatbot. So chatbot and human, it actually feels like you're talking to a human being, your friend. You can tell ChatGPT, this is happening in my life, what should I do, like, and you can actually chat with the bot, but essentially it is a bot, so it comes under affective computing. Okay, but it just only, since it is a language model, so you can say it just takes the text modality, which is we are going to cover in a while. Okay. So you can coming back to the passive methods, you can show some kind of movie clips, some, you can tell a story, and then maybe horror story you're telling to your friends, and everybody will be scared. I'm especially very scared, so I don't, I tell my friends, don't tell me any scary story. Okay. So pros is you have the control. Let's say you want to induce some kind of particular emotion, then you have full authority to what to display on that image or video, whatever. Okay. And we also have some well established data sets. Let's say IAPS, just this international affective picture system, right? IAPS, same deep, different data sets are there. Thank you, Sherry. It's a compliment. Thank you so much. And I strongly recommend that you please go through the um, previous lectures as well. Okay. So, okay, the cons are that the emotional intensity may be lower, and the personalization or the context associated with will be lower. Okay. And because whenever it is something is happening to you, your first house, like you bought something, so it is more relatable to you, you will feel more intense emotion. But if I'm just showing you a picture of somebody, some random person, then the emotional intensity drops. Okay. That is some, you can say, one issue. Now the data sets that we are talking about, first is the active data set. Active data set means I have some trained actors or participants which I'm telling कि please मुझे happy face बना के दिखा दो, so they are just mimicking the face, they are smiling forcefully. ठीक है. So these models are very easy to acquire. ठीक है. कंट्रोल पूरा है आपका. यू कैन टेल द पर्सन हाउ टू मे बी इंटेंसिटी बढ़ा दो या वट एवर यू वॉन्ट, राइट. क्लियर labels, we know what we are doing, so you can label it accordingly. But let's say when you're talking about naturalistic setting, you don't even know what the person is feeling. You cannot say that person is happy just because they are smiling. No. But when you're actually telling me that act happy, तो पता ही है कि वो happiness ही है. ठीक है. Limited real world variability. Not everybody smile, not everybody will be happy like this full face of smile. ठीक है. Some people are happy but they tend to smile less. So it is more representative. मतलब होता है ना कि कैटेगरी रिप्रेजेंटेटिव करने के लिए इट्स बेटर, बट इट्स नॉट एक्यूरेट फॉर द रियल वर्ल्ड. ठीक है. एंड यूज़ केस क्या हो सकता है? ट्रेनिंग इमोशन क्लासिफिकेशन मॉडल्स. आप इनिशियली यू कैन ट्रेन दोज मॉडल्स एंड देन you can add on some realistic data, and also it can be used for benchmarking. ठीक है. Then okay, second one is induced. Induced is same as passive or active. Like inducing emotions is how can we do that? Using active methods or passive methods. ठीक है. That we just discussed before. Now induced data sets are controlled through stimulus like film clips, yeah, any kind of pictures, but it is not forcing you, but it is in a guided setting. ठीक है. So you are coming to a setup, let's say in a lab, there is a PC setup, and you sit there is a camera in front of you, you're watching something, it is capturing your camera. ठीक है. So it is kind of inducing, the intensity is less, but it is more natural than the previous one. ठीक है. It has medium realism because agla wala category will be naturalistic. It is the most realistic setting, but this one is better than the acted one. Real emotions but controlled setup. So again, setup is controlled, but जैसे if you are watching some horror movie, you are genuinely scared, so it will, emotion is real. It is useful for physiological signal modeling. So let's say um, you tell that, okay Akanksha, please act in a happy manner. I can put a smile on my face, but I cannot control my heart rate. ठीक है. In case of induced, you are actually experiencing real emotion, then you can capture my skin conductance, my EEG, my ECG, everything. क्योंकि I am genuinely experiencing, now you will be able to capture those characteristics in my physiological signals. ठीक है. But physiological signals won't work well with this acted data sets. ठीक है. Then use case is multimodal and studying user engagement and physiological patterns. Then comes the naturalistic data set, which is the most difficult to acquire. ठीक है. And they're more spontaneous, and in the semi structured situations, maybe there's a room, you know, and it is camera is there and it is capturing, but then you are free to do anything, like you are talking to your friends, having very natural conversation. That means it is the most realistic. And even if people don't know, which we cannot do by the way because of privacy concerns, let's say you put a camera in a park and people are interacting, so it is the most natural interaction you will be seeing. But again, it is not controlled, it reflects genuine and complex and mixed emotions. The realism is very very high, but then noisy. The data set is very noisy, ambiguous, you don't even know what the person is feeling, so true labels are difficult to obtain. And also subtle expressions, you don't know what the intent, like what the context was. Let's say the person was smiling, but then it was sarcastic, so it was not happiness, it was sarcasm, so you don't know the context. And but it is of course real data will lead to some more realistic systems, so it is real world emotion recognition. Then uh, yeah, so different use cases are there for model. So for model prototyping, we start with the active data sets. ठीक है. एक बार model, we are having some kind of model, then we can use to improve the model, we can use some physiological emotion analysis. So उसके लिए we can use induced data sets. ठीक है. Like to observe what brain changes are happening when I see a scary video. ठीक है. Third is for real world emotion systems. We train test on naturalistic data sets. So there are some examples as well. ठीक है. Now very important, this is actually a very long concept, but I will try to summarize it. How to design an experiment in affective computing. ठीक है. Let's say you want to research on how humans behave when they look at a picture. Okay, bye Kushagra, thanks for joining. So you're welcome, I'm so glad. Okay. So how to design the experiments in affective computing. Firstly, you want to develop a study concept. ठीक है. आपको क्या बनाना है, like what do you want to capture. Let's say I show you a video and how your emotions are changing, that is your, you want to find out. So there was a project when I was in my first year. So there was a project, like there is something called neuromarketing. ठीक है. और न्यूरो मार्केटिंग में क्या होता है, आई शो यू वन एडवर्टाइजमेंट, देयर इज समथिंग लाइक ब्रांड्स आर known by their advertisements, and what if a brand is designing some advertisement and they want to test ki how the other person is feeling. Some brands want to induce some kind of emotion. Let's say have you watched the ads of Manyavar or some wedding clothing brand? So they are usually very emotional. Yeah, right. So let's say they want to test whether our new ad is inducing some kind of emotion. ठीक है. तो हाउ कैन दे टेस्ट, दे विल शो मी अ वीडियो and then they will notice my emotion is changing. So if they say that, oh, I became more emotional and like more sad but happy at the same time, you know, happy tears wala situation, so that then their ad is successful. ठीक है. Before actually launching it into the market. ठीक है. Now, how can they do that? So, taking this example, firstly, the person needs to design the study concept, develop the study concept. उसको पता होना चाहिए कि उसको चाहिए क्या. Like the problem will be show you the video, then capture the facial expressions. I want to know how this ad is going to perform. ठीक है, this is the development of the study concept. So what it means is define what you're trying to study and why. ठीक है, in affective computing what emotions are trying to elicit. ठीक है, what is the goal, improving emotion recognition, or you are testing a wearable sensor. ठीक है, कुछ भी हो सकता है, your experiment. I want to study how accurately facial expression software recognizes stress during exams. ठीक है, ये sample हो गया एक. अब अपने स्टडी का यू हैव दैट मोटिव, आपको मोटिव है व्हाट यू वांट टू नो. हाउ कैन यू डू दैट? यू हैव टू डिज़ाइन द स्टडी की एक्सपेरिमेंट आप कैसे करोगे. सो लेट्स से यू आर टेकिंग विद इन सब्जेक्ट डिज़ाइन. देर आर टू अप्रोचेज, मेन अप्रोचेज, विद इन एंड बिटवीन सब्जेक्ट. सो ऐसा भी हो सकता है, लेट्स से देर आर 100 पीपल. ठीक है, सो 100 पीपल आर देयर. You say I have 2 advertisements, I want to check which one is better. So आप 50 को A वाली दिखा दो एंड 50 को B वाली दिखा दो, तो दोनों में से जो बेटर चलेगी, देन यू कैन सी कि विथ दैट एडवर्टिजमेंट इज़ वर्किंग फाइन. बट देन देर इज़ अनदर अप्रोच विच विल बी लाइक 100 को ही पहले A दिखा दो, फिर उनको B दिखा दो. So which one they will like better? So first one is same participants experience all conditions. This is the within subject. So this is within subject. So you are showing both videos to me and asking which one did you like better. And then other approach is between subject. So वो बोल रहे हैं हाफ हाफ में डिवाइड कर दो, 50 people and then you will see कि A1 वालों ने ज़्यादा मतलब एन्जॉय किया या B वालों ने, या विच एड वर्क बेटर. सो विद इन सब्जेक्ट एंड बिटवीन सब्जेक्ट. सो आपने ऐसे यू डिज़ाइन द होल पाइपलाइन दैट ओके दिस इज़ हाउ आई एम गोइंग टू conduct my experiment. ठीक है, and how what will be the measures, what data will you collect, everything you have designed the study. ठीक है. Next is determine study location, because this is a affective computing scenario. You need to actually take the measurements like the ECG data or some kind of some sensors are not portable. Like my webcam is, I can use it anywhere, right? But let's say I want to capture the EEG signals, there's electrodes and everything, so it is not possible for me to take it everywhere. There is a dedicated setup in my lab. So you have to decide whether it is going to be a lab experiment or whether it is going to be a like experiment which can be conducted anywhere. ठीक है, so there can be options like it can be a lab controlled or in a more realistic setting. ठीक है, or it can be remote. So each approach has their own benefits and downsides. ठीक है, and in affective computing usually we don't want any kind of noise. ठीक है, for facial and voice expressions, let's say I want to capture my facial expression. So if lighting is not good, the system is not going to work. So मुझे इस चीज़ का ध्यान रखना होगा कि lighting should be always good. ठीक है, in order to capture good training data. So these factors will determine. Are there any student group to discuss concepts? No, Sherry, actually I think the student discussion forum is the only place, and the other TAs handle that. I am not aware of where the discussion takes place. I think discussion forum is the best place because other students or the TAs, they usually reply. ठीक है, okay. So okay, example is conducting a lab based experiment where participants solve math problems while being monitored by EEG and camera. So आपने एक setup बना दिया अपने desk अपने lab में, then people are just coming and taking part in the this experiment and they are leaving. ठीक है, now we have designed everything. Now how are you going to evaluate कि मैंने क्या सा feel किया. ठीक है, labeling is very important ना. So how can you tell कि I felt happy while watching this video. This is something called SAM, और even self assessment. You can self assessment mannequins बोलते हैं इनको, SAM को. या फिर लाइकर्ट, वो आता है ना कि टेक पार्ट इन आर सर्वे, फिर वो पूछते हैं ऑन अ स्केल ऑफ, लाइक ऑन अ स्केल ऑफ 5 to 10, सॉरी 0 to 5, ठीक है, 0 to 10 या 0 to 5 आप कितना इसको रैंक करोगे, मच हैप्पी, वेरी गुड वगैरह वगैरह. सो वो सब सेल्फ रिपोर्टिंग होता है, ठीक है. देन देर इज़ ग्राउंड ट्रूथ labeling. Yeah, that is called Likert scale. And there is also something called SAM. SAM is self assessment mannequins, हाँ ऐसा ही कुछ, ठीक है. सो सेल्फ असेसमेंट मैनिकिन्स में क्या होता है ना, एक देर इज़ अ फेस, कार्टूनिश कैरिकेचर होता है उसमें, एंड देर इज़ लाइक वो ऐसे सैड फेस बना होता है, या फिर इमोजीज बोल सकते हो आप उसको, कि इमोजीज बने होते हैं. लाइक मिंत्रा पे मैं शॉपिंग करती हूँ ना, तो उसमें आता है व्हाट इज़ द, हाउ इज़ योर एक्सपीरियंस विद मिंत्रा. सो इट इज़ लाइक रेड face, angry face, and then it goes on to green, and it is very happy. So something like that, not exactly emojis. You can search this out. Initially this was used because it is a visual representation, ठीक है. So the how did you feel, then you can just look at the emoji and select the relevant, कि हाँ भाई मुझे थोड़ा थोड़ा अच्छा लगा, so I am selecting the middle one, ऐसा वाला, ठीक है. Similarly other physiological signals, how are you going to evaluate etc, सब कुछ, ठीक है. उसके बाद आता है वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, ठीक है, IRB. IRB इज़ इंस्टीट्यूशनल रिव्यू बोर्ड से आपको एक क्लियरेंस लेनी होती है, ठीक है. व्हाट इज़ दैट, सिंस you are collecting the data which is associated with my heart rate, my let's say my face, ठीक है. I do not want to डिस्क्लोज माई डेटा. आई डोंट वॉन्ट कि मेरा डेटा लीक हो रहा है, मेरे पार्टिसिपेंट्स का, सबकी ऐसे वीडियोज़ लीक हो रही हैं, ऑनलाइन पड़ा हुआ है सब एक्सेसिबल. नो, it is not how you do that. You have to, once you have your experiment plan in your mind ना, you have to write it down. जैसे हम रिपोर्ट बनाते हैं किसी भी प्रोजेक्ट की, सो यू क्रिएट अ रिपोर्ट. उस रिपोर्ट में यू मेंशन ईच एवरीथिंग. आई विल बी कलेक्टिंग facial expressions, I will be collecting the heart rate data, nothing else will be collected. How are you going to store it? Is going to be stored on the this server, and this is going to be very secure and nobody can access, so that ensuring the participants privacy and security of the data, ठीक है. So these things are very very important, and especially in scenarios with medical health, mental health, या कुछ ऐसे situations या applications आती है ना, so it becomes 10 times more important to get the approval from this ethical body, ठीक है. उनको अगर ऐसा लगता है कि there is some kind of loophole in your experiment, कि you are, let's say you are capturing the data, और आप आगे डेटा को बेच रहे हो कहीं पे जाके, या फिर you are not taking care, कोई भी कहीं से लीक हो रहा है, that means you are not handling your data well. So you need to tell them everything. Let's say बायोमेट्रिक डेटा अगर आप कलेक्ट करें, बायोमेट्रिक इज़ एक्चुअली आप लाइक हार्ट रेट, EEG भी बोल सकते हो, कुछ भी कर सकते हो, या फिंगरप्रिंट ले रहे हो, एनीथिंग वेरी सेंसिटिव डेटा, इवन पिक्चर्स, वीडियोज़, यू कैन नॉट शेयर इट विद एनी वन, ठीक है. सो यूज़ योर डेटा, यूज़ what will be your use. ऐसा तो नहीं है कि you are taking my video, you meant कि I will only use for effective computing, and then you are just creating some kind of other model which is for any other application, ठीक है. उसके लिए I did not give my consent. So the participants should be very very informed, ठीक है. And like you need to get the ethical approval, ठीक है, for everything, every detail related to experiment. कहाँ पे होगा, कब होगा, कैसे होगा, how much you are going to pay the participants, how many participants tentatively will be there, सब कुछ. Once you get the approval, then only you are eligible to conduct the study. Then you run the study according to your plan, ensure that you are taking care of each and everything that you mentioned in the IRB document, ठीक है, and recording all the necessary data. फिर then you are setting up sensors, use the procedure and collecting the feedback etc, ठीक है. So you are conducting the actual study. Now just to summarize this, firstly we developed the study concept, ठीक है, हमने देखा कि करेंगे क्या, करना क्यों है. Then what is the type of study, within subject, between subject, like 50-50 करोगे या फिर 100 को सभी को दोनों दिखाओगे, या कैसे करोगे. Number of groups, how many groups are you going to take. Let's say there are 3 different methods या 3 different modalities या 3 advertisements, तो आपको 3 ग्रुप बनाने पड़ेंगे. तो similarly how many groups are you going to make. फिर हर ग्रुप में कितने लोग होंगे, सैम्पल साइज, ठीक है. हाउ आर यू गोइंग टू इवेल्युएट, आर यू यूजिंग द लाइकर्ट स्केल या फिर सैम मैनिकिन्स, या फिर इंटरव्यू लोगे बाद में कि हाउ डिड यू फील, या कैसे करोगे, ऑब्जर्व करोगे, हाउ विल यू लेबल. देन स्टडी लोकेशन कहाँ पे होगी, ठीक है. other types of equipments, whatever sensors you're going to use. Then failures, what happens in the case of failures, study protocol, etc, etc. Then after deciding everything, you are just preparing IRB document. After getting the approval from IRB, then you are recruiting participants, then you are conducting the study. Can you imagine how long the procedure is? Like, you need to take care of each and everything. So this is how the ideal emotional design, experiment design should be there. Okay. Now coming to week 4. Now week 4, week 5, week 6, I think now we will be discussing about individual modalities. If you want to know how I am feeling, there are so many ways of knowing that. First is very straightforward, like humans do. If you look sad, matlab, I just look at a person and I see, okay, your facial expressions are saying that you're sad. So how can we measure that? We use something called FACS. Generally this is used, ठीक है. So this is something called facial action coding system. इसमें there are, you capture a face and you standardize some points. यहाँ पे ना कुछ points हम होते हैं, let's say these lip corners, so you give them some number, AU something. AU means action unit, ठीक है. Action units, and there are so many action units, and for every expression or for every emotion na, let's say I am smiling, so my lip corners will be up, the location of my lip corner will be up, ठीक है. If I am sad, then the location will be slightly down. तो ऐसे we analyze different AUs, we have discretized the process, ठीक है. And then we can feed this as a feature to some ML or DL model, ठीक है. And it helps us to identify that what kind of emotion a person is feeling. Emotional modality देखो कुछ भी होता है कि कौन सा आप तरीके से कैप्चर कर रहे हो, कौन सा डेटा कैप्चर कर रहे हो. मोडालिटी का मतलब होता है जैसे ऑडियो, वीडियो, या सिर्फ पिक्चर, ठीक है. या फिर आप मेरा EEG डेटा ले रहे हो, EEG डेटा ब्रेन वाला. इफ़ यू आर टेकिंग माई हार्ट रेट, तो उसमें इट इज़ अ हार्ट रेट मोडालिटी. सो मोडालिटी मीन्स विच वे आर यू यूजिंग, एंड यू कैन यूज़ मल्टीपल, ठीक है. सो फेशियल एक्सप्रेशन इज जस्ट वन वे ऑफ कैप्चरिंग द डेटा, वन मोडालिटी, ठीक है. सो इन अदर वर्ड्स, मोडालिटी कैन बी आप कोई सेंसर से किस टाइप का डेटा ले रहे हो. सो वन सेंसर इज दिस कैमरा सेंसर कैप्चर्स द वीडियो मोडालिटी, ठीक है, और एन इमेज मोडालिटी, ठीक है. एंड माई माइक्रोफोन कैप्चर्स सम वॉइस मोडालिटी. तो मोडालिटी इज द टाइप ऑफ डेटा, ठीक है. इमोशनल मोडालिटी इज नथिंग, मतलब इमोशन को कैप्चर करने के लिए हाउ मैनी मोडालिटीज वी कैन यूज़, ठीक है. So we are talking about the facial expressions right now. So if you see here, this is what I was talking about. You have divided the face into different AUs, okay. This is AUs, action units. So AU54 अगर आप देखो, AU54, AU48, these are the lip corners. So if a person is smiling, the location will be slightly here, ठीक है. तो दैट इज़ हाउ यू कैन एनालाइज डिफरेंट एंड डीप लर्निंग मॉडल्स. लेट्स से दिस पर्सन इज स्केयर्ड, है ना. सो यू कैन से द ब्राउ, इट इज़ स्लाइटली ऑन दी हायर साइड, ठीक है, वो रेज हो रखा है. दीज एक्शन यूनिट्स आर इन पिक्चर राइट नाउ. अदर माइट बी पैसिव बट दीज आर एक्टिव्स. आउटर ब्राउ रेज वो उठा हुआ है, ब्राउ लोअर यहाँ पे. लिप इज़ लाइक स्ट्रेच्ड, नॉट स्माइलिंग बट स्ट्रेच्ड. jaw dropped. So ये 26B, if you go 26, different systems might have different annotations. So यहाँ पे जैसे एक example है, ठीक है. So I hope you understood the concept of this facial action unit system. सो दिस इज़ वन मोडालिटी, ठीक है, दिस इज़ वन वे ऑफ इंटरप्रेटिंग इमोशंस. फिर आता है द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ माइक्रो एक्सप्रेशन वर्सेस मैक्रो एक्सप्रेशंस. सो माइक्रो एक्सप्रेशंस क्या होते हैं, दो सटल एक्सप्रेशन. लेट्स से होता है ना कि देयर माइट बी सम सिचुएशन जहाँ पे यू वांट, लाइक योर फ्रेंड इज मेकिंग यू लाफ बट यू कैन नॉट लाफ इन फ्रंट ऑफ टीचर, तो योर फेस इज लाइक slight smile, that smirk you can say is there on your face, but then it is not showing up that much, but still you can guess from that smirk that the person is trying to laugh or happy state, ठीक है. So in this case also you can see the person is slightly like smiling, ठीक है. And in this case it, if you see the eyebrows, it is, although the lip is not moving in this case and this case, they are just the similar, but if you look at the eyebrow like region, you can guess there is slightly like he is stressed, ठीक है, और यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा ये रिलैक्स्ड है और स्माइल कर रहा है. एंड सिमिलरली द मैक्रो एक्सप्रेशंस आर एक्चुअली व्हाट वी, मतलब हम लोग जो यूजुअली एक्सप्रेशंस देते हैं, व्हेन यू आर हैप्पी शी इज़ स्माइलिंग वेरी नाइसली, देन इफ दिस इज डिस्गस्ट देन लाइक इट इज़ डिस्गस्टेड, ठीक है. So usually micro expressions last for this 1/25th of the second or half, matlab this is the range, and macro expressions usually last from 0.5 second to 4 seconds. Visibility, this is very fast, often subconsciously we don't even know, and micro expressions can be used in the case of um, let's say some lie detection or so, because this is involuntary, but you can control your laughter, you can put up a very serious face, but then you cannot control your micro expressions that much. It is involuntary, this is often voluntary, ठीक है. And it reveals the true emotions, especially when somebody is hiding feelings. It is useful in deception detection, and this is in general emotion recognition, ठीक है. Also there are two ways of determining the emotions. Either you can use the image or you can use video. So in static means usually we are using just one frame, image, single face, and in this frame like you can see this person is happy, this person looks happy, ठीक है. And this is faster because एक frame is there to analyze, only one frame. Second, it is computationally cheaper, ठीक है. It is also like because we only have to process one frame, ठीक है. But the problem is that it misses the temporal context, ठीक है. We don't know what was happening before or after this particular snapshot when it was taken, ठीक है. And then another approach is dynamic FER, facial expression recognition. Dynamic में क्या होता है, we analyze the video sequences or frames, ठीक है. So it considers the temporal changes as well, how expressions evolve over time. Let's say a model watches how a person's face changes from neutral to surprised and uses that transition to classify the emotion. So usually you can see there are so many frames, and then we input, and maybe frame by frame or temporally also we are extracting some facial region is there, then CNN based model is there, LSTM is usually used when we have some temporal component. So I say we can use different models and ultimately it can detect the different emotion associated, ठीक है. Now we have just briefly gone through how we can detect the emotions using this facial expressions. We can also guess a person. Let's say you call your friend, it's an audio call, and then the person seems low. आपको कैसे पता चलता है the person is low? Because they don't seem like, if you're excited your pitch is usually high, ठीक है, your voice is very shrill, sharp, but when you are sad usually you tend to speak slower, you tend to speak in a more relaxed manner, ठीक है. So these characteristics will help you to understand even with the help of voice. So voice is a rich medium or natural channel for expressing emotions, ठीक है. In affective computing we use vocal features to detect the emotional states. So what can be the different features? So first can be prosodic feature. Prosody का मतलब होता है my tone of speaking. Let's say अभी आप you're listening to me and I have a specific way of talking, ठीक है, देर इज सम काइंड ऑफ रिदम, देर इज सम काइंड ऑफ इंटोनेशन. ठीक है, so some features like I have a pitch, and if let's say you meet me tomorrow and I sound something like, hi, i I speak like this, so that then you know that this is not how she usually talks, so there is something off. That means you detected my pitch, you analyzed my energy level ki usually I am this loud but today she feels a bit low. Speech rate, usually we tend to speak very fast when you're excited about something, na, you tend to speak fast, but when you are low then you also get slow. ठीक है, then pauses, like when you're excited you take less pauses, but when you are sad or when you are more on the relaxed state you take longer and more pauses. ठीक है, or it can signal that there is some kind of hesitation or sadness going on. तो these are some features. ठीक है, second category spectral features, जैसे if you know what a spectrogram is, हमारी we can convert an audio to a visual representation which is called a spectrogram. And now machine learning models or even some libraries are there, Python library called librosa. So librosa से we can extract these features, जैसे कि formants actually क्या होती हैं, the frequencies present in our voice. So my voice that you're listening to right now, it's not made up of a single frequency, it is actually एक बेस फ्रीक्वेंसी होती है, फिर उसके मल्टीपल्स होते हैं. ठीक है, सो लेट्स से दिस इज एक्स, देन 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x, ऐसे और सारी बहुत सारी फ्रीक्वेंसीज हैं, एंड व्हेन दे ओवरलैप देन यू एक्चुअली हियर व्हाट आई एम टॉकिंग, माय वॉइस एक्चुअली. ठीक है, फिर आते हैं वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फीचर विच इज़ कॉल्ड द MFCCs. तो ऐसे स्पेक्ट्रल, सेंट्रॉयड, बैंडविड्थ, दीज आर मोर ऑफ अ हैंड क्राफ्टेड फीचर्स, स्पेक्ट्रल फीचर्स. ठीक है, एंड द डिफरेंट मीनिंग्स लाइक स्पेक्ट्रल बैंडविड्थ आपको ये बताती है हाउ शार्प द साउंड इज़. देन वॉइस क्वालिटी फीचर्स लाइक लेट्स से व्हेन यू आर नर्वस योर वॉइस टेंड्स टू, होता है ना कि वाइब्रेट सी करती है, यू टेंड टू थोड़ा no, Sherry, actually we are going to cover it today only. I'll just try to speed up because tomorrow we are going to cover only week 12 in detail. ठीक है, so I don't think there is much in week 5. This is the last slide just to give an overview. ठीक है, so I hope we will be able to cover in time. So usually this session is of 2 hours. ठीक है, so okay, we were talking about voice quality. So my voice is very shaky sometimes when I'm nervous. ठीक है, so it is called jitter और shimmer. ठीक है, loudness में variation आना और jitter means pitch में variation आना. So these are some features which are related to voice quality. So some features we can analyze that can help us to guess the state of our emotion. We don't have to do it manually, of course. We have some MLDL models, so they can analyze these features and then they can make some predictions. Now we've talked about facial expressions, voice. Also, you're talking to your friend, you're chatting with them, and somehow you feel that they're not feeling nice. Let's say people tend to use less emojis when they're sad. This is just a general example, but now we are not talking about the emojis. We're talking about the language, the content. ठीक है, what is the content, what is written in that. So analyzing written or let's say a person is saying, you know, I knew I was going to be sad today. ठीक है, तो उसमें वो बोल रहा है कि I knew this is going to happen, I feel so frustrated. Using these transcript you can analyze that the person is frustrated or person is sad or whatever is being said. Also, I'm not happy today. So happy, just seeing the word happy does not mean it is happy. You have to analyze the whole context. ठीक है, so we need to analyze the written or transcribed language to identify emotional states. Then it is not straightforward and often depends on context, tone, word choice and implicit meaning. Also हम बोलते हैं ना कि just messaging is not the best way to convey your feelings to tell something to someone, because misunderstandings usually happen when it is the text modality, because they don't know which tone you used. Yeah, what was your intent while writing that message? Okay, so text based emotion analysis is fine, but it should not be used alone. Usually it is used in in combination with some other modality. Okay, so there are some challenges involved which I wanted to discuss. Words can have multiple meanings. Let's say I'm fine, so you just write I'm fine. That means, is it positive or neutral? But then you say I'm fine with an emoji, so it means sarcasm. It is possibly negative, so it changes the whole meaning. Okay, then sarcasm and irony. Oh great, another meeting at 7 a.m. So if you read this sentence, you know, we as human, we know that 7 a.m. In the morning, again another meeting, then the person is actually frustrated. But then if you just look at the keywords, oh great, then the model might think this is a good thing, this is a happy feeling. No, but it is literally positive, but it is actually negative. The person is annoyed. Okay, so irony or sarcastic cheezeं ना, models we need to train them in a better way. Even NLP is not that strong enough कि वो अभी तक sarcasm जान पाए, because sarcasm is something, it is like we need to think about it, the context. Actually, Sheris, there are people working on this sarcasm detection. But for that, you need to understand the whole conversation which is going on. So you cannot just read one message, है ना? So if you know the previous message, like let's say the previous message was I am already frustrated from these meetings at evenings. Oh great, another meeting is at 7. So then the model can guess. ठीक है. And there can be implicit emotions, no direct emotional words. अभी तक तो we have used oh great, happy, sad, but let's say I waited for 2 hours for the doctor. So sounds neutral, मतलब इसमें कुछ emotion नहीं लग रहा, but then we know that this is frustrating. Waiting for somebody for 2 hours is frustrating. So there is no direct anger or frustration words, but it's still, we know the context, so we can guess the emotion. So text is not like very straightforward. Also there are cultural and linguistic variations. Okay, so let's say somebody is expecting, so you say you are looking bigger these days. This might be offensive to someone, and this might be okay to someone. In some regions this might be taken in a positive way, but then due to some cultural or contextual differences, this might be not, like this might be a compliment or this can be a comment, so can be offensive. So you have to take all those things into account. So but what can be some of the features for text? First can be the lexical features. Lexical means that we use different representation for the words. So these can be bag of words, TF-IDF, ठीक है, engrams. We actually discussed this in detail in the lectures. So as I mentioned earlier, that emotions should also be represented using numbers. We don't the computer does not understand anything beyond numbers. So if you also want to represent your words with the help of some number or vector, ठीक है, तो these are some methods: bag of words, TF-IDF, score, engrams. TF-IDF is generally used for the keyword detection, so detecting some keywords, ठीक है. And engrams is for frequently occurring words, ऐसा वाला, to capture context. Example is sentence that I am extremely delighted. So bag of words can assign some kind of number to it, ठीक है. एंड TF-IDF might highlight कि हाँ सबसे ज़्यादा important कौन सा कीवर्ड है यहाँ पे. Then there comes syntactic features. That means part of speech tagging, some adjectives, some tense and mood, कौन सा उसमें textual, मतलब जो भी words लिखे हुए हैं exactly what that means, ठीक है. And then semantic features which capture the meaning. So meaning में we have word embedding, sentence embedding. So now they have transformer based models which are BERT या ChatGPT भी उसी पे based होता है, ठीक है. BERT पे. So encoders are there, and then we also want to represent using some vectors. So let's say ऐसे dimensional model है, हाँ, BERT. So BERT is I forgot the full form, but it is transformer based model. So uh, have you have you heard the term transformers? हाँ, so transformers में होता है ना something bidirectional encoder. I forgot the full form. हाँ, तो इट इज़ बेसिकली इट वॉज डिज़ाइंड फॉर NLP. ठीक है, तो NLP में देर आर ट्रांसफॉर्मर हैज़ टू components. One is called the encoder and second is the decoder. So you can understand that the encoder part is kind of equivalent to BERT and the decoder is equivalent to GPT. ठीक है, so these two terms you must be hearing nowadays a lot, BERT and GPT. So BERT is basically an encoder type. तो encoder का क्या मतलब होता है? To encode to a certain mathematical or vector form. So I use a encoder. Let's say my word is happy, so it will give me some kind of vector number. ठीक है, so ऐसे स्पेस में कोई यहाँ पे मैं यहाँ पे represent कर लूँगी. Actually two components are there, Sherry. Two components are there जब भी ट्रांसफॉर्मर आर्किटेक्चर की हम बात करते हैं, especially the original paper. Attention is all you need, the paper. ठीक है, so if you go to that paper and if you read about transformers more in detail, there are two components. First is called the encoder, second is decoder. So the encoder part is somehow you can just to understand that is equivalent to the BERT. So BERT जो होता है ना, there are so many रोबोटा और ऐसे करके बहुत सारे मॉडल्स आ रहे हैं आजकल. सो इट इज़ मोस्टली टू एनकोड द टेक्स्ट एंड देन GPT इज़ टू इट इज़ द प्री ट्रेंड ट्रांसफॉर्मर. सो तो वो उसको डिकोड करता है. सो एनीथिंग विच इज़ जनरेशन बेस्ड, सो इट इज़ यूजिंग सम काइंड ऑफ GPT. ठीक है, तो कुछ वैसा सा आप समझ सकते हो फॉर नाउ टू अंडरस्टैंड, बट इट इज़ ऑफ कोर्स डिफरेंट. BERT and GPT are different. ठीक है, तो टॉकिंग अबाउट द एनकोडर्स, सो इफ़ आई गिव वर्ड हैप्पी, सो ये यहाँ पे कुछ उसको किसी नंबर से रिप्रेजेंट कर सकता है. एंड देन इफ़ आई गिव सैड, देन वो यहाँ पे कुछ ऐसे लाई कर सकता है. एंड वी कैन गेट सम नंबर लाइक x, y वैल्यू. सो इसके जो स्पेस होगा वो यहाँ पे, एंड इट इज़ नॉट 2 डायमेंशनल, इट इज़ वेरी हाई डायमेंशनल. लेट्स से 1024 डायमेंशनल. ठीक है, सो दिस विल बी अ लॉन्ग वेक्टर विद -1.3487 ऐसे करके. ये दिस इज़ फर्स्ट वैल्यू, देन -3.5 समथिंग समथिंग ऐसे करते करते इट इज़ लाइक दिस इज़ 012 ऐसे करते करते 1023. सो बेसिकली 4 डायमेंशनल हो गया ये. ऐसा ही representations are there for different text. ठीक है, so these are the semantic features. Also very interesting slide, I really want to tell you that how are typeface the fonts, or the especially in the case of some visual advertisements or some case of let's say you're designing some poster and you want to कि भाई Halloween वाला poster है, some scary factor should be there, so you won't use this font, है ना. You won't use this font for Halloween poster. It must be something like this. You just look at it and you feel that emotion, because we want to induce that emotion, है ना. Same if it is funky, तो आप ये वाला font use कर सकते हो. If it is very like fairy tale or वैसा Disney princess vibe, so then you can use this kind of font. So even fonts are able to induce some certain emotions in our case. ठीक है, so very interesting part. Anybody who is interested in designing or so this is a very important concept there as well. Now we have talked about 3 modalities. Now the final modality is the physiological signals. What exactly are physiological signals? They're the biological responses of body that reflect internal emotional states. Let's say you are happy, तो बोलते हैं ना कि ये हार्मोन रिलीज होता है, दिस हैपन्स, योर ब्रेन, दिस कॉर्टेक्स इज responsible for making you happy, or जब आप when you're anxious then this part of your brain is activated and so on. So even your some people when they are scared then their hands become very sweaty, so that means your body is also responding or telling you something that you know you're feeling that emotion right now. So uh, unlike facial expressions or text, so if you're typing something, you know what you're typing, it is controllable, voluntary. Same facial expressions, you can fake those expressions, I can fake smile, but physiological signals are there when it is internally and it is involuntary. So you cannot fake the EEG signal कि अगर मेरा brain if you're feeling stressed you can still put a smile on your face, but you cannot control which part of your brain is activated because it is already your the what is it called pre-sympathetic nervous system, so it gets activated और वो फिर सब करता है, you don't do anything. ठीक है, your brain is controlling something. तो इट इज़ वेरी हार्डर टू फेक. ठीक है, एंड इन केस ऑफ वही डिसीविंग, कोई डिसेप्शन ना हो रही हो, दे वॉन्ट टू डिटेक्ट एनी काइंड ऑफ डिसेप्शन गोइंग ऑन और एनीथिंग लाइक दैट, सो फिजियोलॉजिकल सिग्नल्स आर द फर्स्ट चॉइस. इवन दैट वो होता है ना लाई डिटेक्टर टेस्ट. सो इफ़ यू सी इन द मूवीज देयर इज अ चेयर एंड दे हैव सो मेनी इलेक्ट्रोड्स, वो ये दे अटैच टू पर्सनस हेड और हैंड्स और सो उससे वो फिजियोलॉजिकल सिग्नल्स दे कैप्चर, एंड देन they analyze those signals कि if they show certain pattern which is matching with the existing database और जो उनकी learning है model की, then they can conclude that the person is lying और ठीक है ऐसा वाला. एंड सो दे आर हाईली रिलायबल एक्चुअली. ठीक है, हम क्योंकि उसको फेक नहीं कर पाते हैं. देन इट इज़ ऑब्जेक्टिव एंड कॉन्टिन्यूस डेटा एंड इट इज़ यूजफुल इन रियल टाइम, बट दे आर नॉट दे कैन नॉट बी इजीली मैनिपुलेटेड. ठीक है, सो देर आर सर्टेन एग्जाम्पल्स फॉर दिस फिजियोलॉजिकल सिग्नल्स. फर्स्ट इज ECG. ECG मेजर्स द हार्ट रेट एंड हार्ट रेट वेरिएबिलिटी. फिर आता है इलेक्ट्रोडर्मल एक्टिविटी, जो मैंने स्किन कंडक्टेंस या फिर स्वेटी पाम्स की बात की. Our skin has sweat glands which get activated when you are stressed. ठीक है, so in higher stress scenarios you will feel more sweaty. ठीक है, तो this is one example. Then electromyography, which is the muscle. Usually ना हमारे muscles tend to बोलते हैं कि थोड़ा cramped feel करती हैं. ठीक है, तो in certain scenarios, so muscle activity is also changing. Then EEG is the brain activity. Brain is made of neurons. Brain contains neurons है ना, तो neurons communicate with each other using electric signals. और ये बहुत छोटे signals होते हैं, like very faint signals. So in order to capture those signals we put some electrodes और ऐसे caps ही बनाई होती है, तो then you can capture. Then comes respiration. Respiration means breathing. Usually when you are in high arousal state you start breathing heavily, या फिर when you are in relaxed state your breath is more on the calmer side or relaxed side. ठीक है, so breathing rate lowers down. So it also depends on the emotion. Okay, multi-modal emotion recognition. That modalities now you have understood. हमारे पास text हो सकता है, facial expression हो सकते हैं, voice हो सकती है, and physiological signal हो सकता है. But then only one modality may not be enough, as we saw in the case of let's say voice. ठीक है, voice में if I'm talking to you over phone you don't know how my face is looking like. I might be faking my voice as well, or I can also fake the text. Like आप कुछ भी लिख सकते हो, you want to just pretend that I'm sad. Or in the case of facial expressions you can put on a fake smile. ठीक है, which is also not reliable. मतलब of course if any modality other is not available तो आप fuse भी नहीं कर सकते हो, but if there are multiple modalities available, so what is the benefit of using? We want to integrate different input modalities such as this facial expression वगैरह वगैरह to detect and interpret emotional states, because relying on a single modality may lead to misinterpretation, to noise, ambiguity, missing data, and also so on. So smile could mean happiness or nervousness, but combining it with voice tone can clarify. ठीक है, so voice tone is if it is shaking, the voice is shaking, then I can say I'm very nervous. But if I'm actually very confidently saying this thing out, that means voice is not shaking, it is very coming out as very confident, I am happy. So how can we fuse these modalities? So there are main three methods of fusing this information. One is called the early fusion. ठीक है, early fusion का मतलब होता है सो यू अंडरस्टैंड द फीचर्स ना, जैसे मान लो कि फेशियल एक्सप्रेशंस के कुछ फीचर्स थे, सो उसके आपके एयू फीचर्स हो गए या कोई और फीचर हो गया, ठीक है, कलर हो गया, स्किन कलर हो गया, ऐसे स्किन कलर, तो ऐसे फीचर वन इसको हम बोल देते हैं, इसको बोल देते हैं फीचर वन, दिस इज़ फीचर टू. फिर आता है हमारा ऑडियो का, लेट्स से वॉइस बेसिकली, ठीक है. वॉइस के फीचर्स हो सकते हैं आपका पिच और आपका MFCC वगैरह वगैरह. सो लेट्स कॉल इट V1 एंड V2. नाउ हाउ आर यू गोइंग टू कंबाइन दोज फीचर्स? सो अर्ली फ्यूजन में क्या करते हैं, द टिपिकल पाइपलाइन एक्चुअली लुक्स लाइक दिस. सो दीज आर द फीचर्स. एक ML मॉडल होता है या DL मॉडल होता है. इट टेक्स एंड इट प्रोसेसेस एंड इट गिव्स द प्रिडिक्शन, ठीक है. और हम फीचर्स को ना कुछ ऐसा रिप्रेजेंट कर लेते हैं, ठीक है. नाउ अर्ली फ्यूजन का मतलब है कि आई एम कंबाइनिंग दिस फीचर्स इन एडवांस. सो इफ़ आई हैव these red features means I have this facial expression features, and then I have voice features. So let me just ऐसा कर देते हैं. तो I also have these voice features, so I combine them already and then I am feeding to the model, फिर वो predict कर रहा है, ठीक है. So fusing or combining raw features from all modalities into one vector. So what are the pros and cons? It is a simple approach, and it like needs time synchronization and sample rate. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि your voice modality is basically capturing 1000 points and आपका facial expression is only 2 points. So like per second you're taking only 2 readings, but यहाँ पे आप 1000 readings. So how will you adjust, how will you synchronize those? So थोड़ा सा ये issue रहता है. Then late fusion means, तो basically prediction is what? Prediction is, let's say, happy, ठीक है. Then late fusion means that आपने facial expressions को अलग से मॉडल में डाला, अलग मॉडल था, you got some result happy, and you also used the voice modality to train a different model. This is like 1, this is 2, and it gives maybe relaxed, ठीक है. And there is another model जिसमें you trained a model 3 and it gives happy. So now let's say you can use a voting mechanism कि तीनों में से decision को मैं fuse कर लूँ. The 2 are saying happy, that means I can assign the final label as happy, ठीक है. So it is the benefit is it is modular, scalable, but then losses come, cross model interaction, loses some cross model, because होता क्या है कि your voice and facial expression can contain some mutual information, ठीक है. But in this case, since we are processing it all alone, then that means it can lose this information, ठीक है. Then comes the hybrid fusion. So hybrid fusion में क्या होता है कि initially we started with different models. So यहाँ का model 1 हो गया, and the processing के बाद it is something like this, ठीक है. And similarly for second one it is model 2, फिर some intermediate representations look like this. Now you are fusing this and then feeding it to some other model, combined model, so ठीक है. Then it is finally giving you happy. So this is intermediate fusion, ठीक है. Fusion of the इंटरमीडिएट एम्बेडिंग्स. सो इसमें दोनों का बेनिफिट आपको मिल जाता है. ठीक है. So now the challenges are in multimodal emotion recognition. MER stand for multimodal. So synchronization we want, maybe in one modality एक डेटा ही मिसिंग है एक टाइम फ्रेम का. लाइक लेट्स से शुरुआत का डेटा, माई वॉइस वॉज नॉट बींग रिकॉर्डेड इन द स्टार्टिंग, कुछ देर वॉज सम इशू विद माई माइक बट माई वीडियो इज कैप्चरिंग प्रॉपरली. सो माइक्रोफोन डेटा इज़ नॉट अवेलेबल फॉर दैट टाइम एंड देन दिस डेटा इज़ अवेलेबल. सो आई नीड टू चेक कि भाई वो सिंक ख़राब ना हो जाए, या फिर मिसिंग डेटा को हाउ टू हैंडल. Then noise sensitivity is there, scalability is there, fusion complexity, because more data you are using, more models you are using, then how to combine, the overall pipeline becomes more complex. ठीक है. Okay, week 9 talks about the emotional empathy in agents or robots or machines. So empathy होती क्या है? Empathy in general terms is the ability for you to understand others' emotions, what others are feeling. ठीक है. So in case of machines, the machine should be able to understand what the other person is feeling, and then you can recognize, simulate and respond accordingly in a way that mimics the human behavior. ठीक है. Then the goal is to create intelligent systems or agents that can build trust, improve user experience and enhance social interaction. Let's say I'm talking to Alexa, so I tell that okay, this hi, how are you, I'm not feeling good, but then it is not responding properly. It's like giving very robotic response कि हाँ today's weather is this वगैरह वगैरह. I don't want that interaction, because we want more human like interaction. ठीक है. More friendly and more emotionally capable. So let's say there are some this, let's say a few years down the line, Alexa इतनी smart हो जाएगी कि if I say hi Alexa, so it should be able to understand that, oh hi Akanksha, why do you sound so low? So then I will feel okay, I have someone. Yeah, Sherry, just give me 1 minute, let me just finish. Okay, so in the end I will definitely share. So yeah, so basically I want the model, the agent to behave in a more empathetic manner. So there can be different kind of empathy. One is cognitive empathy and second is affective empathy. So one way is, let's say you are a therapist, ठीक है. You want to understand what the person is feeling, but you don't want to feel the same emotion, क्योंकि यू आर डॉक्टर. अगर डॉक्टर सेम रोने बैठ जाएगा साथ में तो वो इलाज नहीं कर सकता. सेम गोज़ फॉर दिस agent. If it is meant to, counter that negative emotion, तो फिर it should not reciprocate the same emotion. तो understanding should be there, but it should not feel it. ठीक है. So cognitive empathy means understanding intellectually, and affective means that experiencing or mirroring the emotional state. If I am feeling happy, then there is no need to counter na. It is a positive emotion, then खुशी में खुश होना चाहिए, right? So same, if I am telling some agent that okay Alexa, do you know I got my degree today, it should be able to respond in a manner that oh wow I'm so happy for you. ठीक है. Not that थोड़ा counter करने का. So yeah, this is affective empathy. There are also another two type of empathy. One is parallel versus reactive. Same, parallel हम तब यूज़ करते हैं when we want to respond in a same manner, usually when it is a happy emotion. Usually when happy emotion, क्योंकि when there is happiness, then we want to experience the same emotion. But when there is some sadness, so in case of happy emotion, usually parallel empathy, and in case of a sad emotion, reactive. Reactive means उसको react करके counter करना. So we want to meant to be like supportive or helpful, not by feeling the same. ठीक है. So I noticed you sound stressed, would you like to take a break or hear something uplifting? तो मतलब it is countering the effect. ठीक है. So Yeah, it is responding to someone in a supportive or comforting way without necessarily experiencing the same emotion. ठीक है. Also very very interesting concept, uncanny valley. It is a very important concept as well. ठीक है. Uncanny valley का मतलब होता है we want our models, our robots to look more human like. ठीक है. But see, up to certain limit, if this is a robot, I एक डब्बा बना दिया, इट इज़ नॉट वेरी लाइक एलेक्सा इज जस्ट अ डब्बा. ठीक है. बट दिस रोबो, इट काइंड ऑफ इज़ वेरी क्यूट. ठीक है. इट इज़ अ क्यूट रोबो वॉली है ना. तो इट हैज़ ह्यूमन लाइक कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स. थोड़ी आंखें हैं, इट हैज़ हैंड्स. तो इसको हम बोलते हैं एंथ्रोपोमॉर्फिज्म. एंथ्रोपोमॉर्फिज्म होता है टू, सो एंथ्रोपोमॉर्फिज्म का मतलब होता है टू मेक machines look human like और like life like. कोई एनिमल हो सकता है एंड एनीथिंग. ठीक है. बट देन दिस ऑफ कोर्स इट इज़ नॉट ह्यूमन. ठीक है. तो इट इज़ नॉट लुकिंग लाइक ह्यूमन. इफ इवन इफ इट इज़ नॉट लाइक हैविंग अ माउथ, आई एम डूइंग फाइन, मुझे कोई फ़र्क नहीं पड़ रहा है. इफ इट इज़ स्माइलिंग इट विल बी वेरी क्यूट. बट लाइक लेट्स लुक एट दिस डॉल. It is having all the characteristics as a human being. ठीक है. But it is still scary. क्यों? Because it is actually looking like a human being, but it is not behaving exactly. It is not perfect. So unless it is a human and it is very perfect, तब तक मुझे सही लगेगा. बट अगर इससे थोड़ा सा भी इधर उधर हुआ ना, तो लगेगा भाई कुछ तो गड़बड़ है. मतलब समथिंग इज़ रॉन्ग विद दिस रोबोट. बहुत क्रीपी है. सो इट लुक्स मोर क्रीपी. दिस इज़ कॉल्ड द अनकैनी वैली इफेक्ट. सो अनकैनी वैली का मतलब है कि एक पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम तक व्हेन यू मेक द रोबोट्स लुक मोर लाइक ह्यूमंस, तो इट बिकम्स क्यूट 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 क्यूट. उसके बाद आ जाता है भाई इट इज़ लुकिंग लाइक ह्यूमन बट इट इज़ नॉट बिहेविंग लाइक ह्यूमन. सो दैट मीन्स इट इज़ क्रीपी, क्रीपिंग मी आउट. अब ऐसे स्माइल कर रही है, ऐसे यहाँ से दांत यहाँ से बाहर आ रहा है. सो इट विल बी वेरी क्रीपी, राइट. दिस इज़ कॉल्ड अनकैनी वैली बिकॉज यहाँ पे वो ऐसे ग्राफ ना ऊपर जा रहा होता है पहले. इट इज़ लाइक फेमिलियरिटी के उसमें, एंड सडनली इट टेक्स अ डिप. तो ये ऐसे वैली बन रही है. फिर उसके बाद जब व्हेन इट इज़ परफेक्टली ह्यूमन लाइक, देन इट अगेन इट बिकम्स गुड. जैसे सोफिया है रोबो. ठीक है. या फिर अदर एग्जाम्पल, इफ़ आई एम यू कैन रीड दिस आउट लेटर. ठीक है. सो लेट्स से ये दो एनिमेशन वाली मूवीज़ हैं. टॉय स्टोरी हम सब ने देखी है. तो इसमें दैट इज़ वेरी क्यूट है ना. दे आर करेक्टली रिप्रेजेंटिंग द इमोशंस या एक्सप्रेशंस. ही इज़ सरप्राइज्ड बट इट इज़ वेरी ह्यूमन लाइक. ठीक है. बट अगर हम नीचे देखते हैं, सी इनका फेस कुछ तो अलग लग रहा है. लाइक इट इज़ नॉट नॉर्मल. इट इज़ लाइक अ ह्यूमन बीइंग हाइपर रियलिज्म के चक्कर में, बट इट इज़ नॉट ह्यूमन. सो दिस इज़ वेरी स्केरी. This looks more scary, but this looks cute. So this is where the uncanny valley effect is there. ठीक है. And in case of Sophia the robot, if you see, she is like very close to human. But अगर वो ऐसे थोड़ा ऐसे करके मुंह घुमाएगी ना, तो you will feel scared कि भाई scary, creepy. This is called uncanny valley effect. Okay, coming to week 10. Now let's say we have seen different robo EVA वगैरह क्या होते हैं. But then some robots ऐसा तो है नहीं कि बस प्री प्रोग्राम्ड है. मतलब लेट्स से इवन इफ इट इज़ able to detect the emotion. Let's say some student is there and there is a teacher robot. ठीक है. तो teacher robot should sense कि हाँ student is not able to understand and it is very frustrated. The student is very frustrated. तो अब वो क्या करेगा? So there are some levels of adaptation. Adaptation का मतलब होता है to change yourself. ठीक है. How are you going to behave? One way is that you sense कि this person is मतलब feeling frustrated, but आपने कुछ नहीं किया. You're doing nothing. You're just sensing. That is level 0. Level 1 में आता है you are actually adapting your responses based on how the person is feeling. ठीक है. So let's go through this one by one. Level 0 adaptation का मतलब होता है when the robot or the agent, it is able to detect but does not alter its behavior. Let's say a video tutorial system है and it continues to present the content, उसको कोई फ़र्क नहीं पड़ रहा whether you seem bored or confused. No changes are made to system interface or the presentation style or in response to users emotional state. ठीक है, लेकिन लेवल 1 एडेप्टेशन में क्या होता है, इट हैज़ सम, it responds to some predefined emotional triggers with pre-programmed actions, but still the interaction is more static and non-personalized. तो कस्टमर सर्विस है अगर चैटबॉट है, ठीक है, सो इट मतलब लेट्स से इट डिटेक्ट्स योर फ्रस्ट्रेशन, ठीक है, तो फ्रस्ट्रेशन में वो क्या बोलते हैं, आई अंडरस्टैंड योर अपसेट, हाउ कैन आई असिस्ट यू बेटर. तो इट इज़ सेंसिंग that you are upset, but then it is not like doing anything, it is just how can I assist you, and this will do to every person same response. ठीक है, then comes level 2. level 2 में होता है it involves dynamic adjustments to systems behavior on detecting emotions. so example is an intelligent tutoring system, ठीक है, जिसको हम affect tutor या ऐसे करके एक और भी था गेज ट्यूटर वगैरह एग्जाम्पल्स. तो वो क्या करते हैं, लेट्स से आई एम अ स्टूडेंट एंड मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, आई एम नॉट एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड, देन आई एम जस्ट लुकिंग लाइक दिस, सर पकड़ के बैठी हूँ मैं, एंड देन द सिस्टम विल सी, ओ दिस पर्सन सीम्स मोर लाइक frustrated or bored, she is not able to understand. So what is the, like, what should be the ideal response? So either स्लोअर द स्पीड ऑफ द लेक्चर, मतलब इफ़ इट इज़ गोइंग, मतलब सर के ऊपर से ना, तो यू कैन जस्ट स्लो डाउन, रिपीट द थिंग्स थोड़ा स्लोली, ठीक है, या फिर यू कैन जस्ट गिव अ ब्रेक, कि टेक 2 मिनट ब्रेक, ऐसा वाला भी. तो इंटेलिजेंट सिस्टम इज़ अडेप्टिंग कि व्हाट शुड माई रिस्पॉन्स बी इन, मतलब in order to make the other person feel better or more engaged or whatever the purpose is. ठीक है, so yeah, a student's confusion is detected through facial expression, and then the pace of teaching या डिटेल एक्सप्लेनेशन देने लग गए या एक्स्ट्रा एग्जाम्पल दे दी, तो ऐसा करके उसने मॉडिफाई किया अपने कंटेंट को. दैट इज़ लेवल 2 अडेप्टेशन. लेवल 3 अडेप्टेशन में क्या होता है, इट इज़ रियल टाइम इमोशनली, इट इज़ रियल टाइम मॉनिटरिंग. सो सेंसर इज़ अटैच्ड, ठीक है, तो इट इज़ कॉन्स्टेंटली टेलिंग कि हाँ नाउ यू सीम टू बी डिस्ट्रैक्टेड, प्लीज़ बी मोर अटेंटिव वगैरह वगैरह. सो इट इज़ मोर पर्सनलाइज्ड एक्सपीरियंस एंड इट इज़ मोर रियल टाइम एक्सपीरियंस. ठीक है, एंड then there is another level also. If we go about level 4, level 4 means there are multiple agents. Like in this case till now we were discussing like one is a tutor, one is a person, but let's say two agents are there interacting with each other, या फिर I am interacting with multiple agents, तो फिर उसमें कौन से levels रहेंगे, this is level 4. okay, second last वीक 11 में वी डिस्कस्ड अबाउट द EVAs, EVPA और EVA, इमोशनल वर्चुअल पर्सनल असिस्टेंट्स. सो जैसे कि वी नो अबाउट सीरी, अलेक्सा, गूगल असिस्टेंट, दे हैव इमोशनल टोन्स, वो अच्छे से बात करती है. सो अदर एग्जाम्पल कैन बी मेंटल हेल्थ चैट बॉट्स, ठीक है, कस्टमर सर्विस बॉट्स विच आर अडेप्टिंग अकॉर्डिंग टू द टोन, और लाइक इफ़ ए यूज़र इज़ फ्रस्ट्रेटेड देन यू कैन calm down, speak more slowly, ऐसा करके you can tone down ऐसे. and the definition is basically वही कि these agents are, yeah, so EVA is basically, EVA का मतलब होता है personal assistant. so let's say in case of Japan, आप बोलो कि there are, you must have heard that there are so many elderly people, ठीक है, वहाँ पे they don't, children नहीं है वहाँ पे, और they live far from the parents, and then they're very alone. So there is something called companionship. So some robots can be there in their homes which they can talk to the robo, and the robo can be like, should be able to capture different aspects. ठीक है, जैसे मान लो कि वो बच्चे से वीडियो कॉल करवानी है या कुछ भी करना है, या फिर कैप्चरिंग मॉनिटरिंग द हेल्थ रेगुलरली, या फिर डिटेक्टिंग दैट द पर्सन इज़ फीलिंग लोनली, सो आई शुड प्ले सम गुड म्यूज़िक और सो. तो ऐसे करके कंपेनियनशिप भी हो सकती है, या फिर एनी अदर वर्चुअल असिस्टेंट, जैसे कि हमारा कोई चैट बॉट हो सकता है, या फिर एनी दिस सीरी, अलेक्सा, या फिर गूगल होम, इस टाइप के कोई भी डिवाइसेस, कोई भी रोबोट्स, देखो कुछ भी नहीं है, इट्स जस्ट पी का फ़र्क है, इट्स फॉर पर्सनल. सो जैसे सीरी मेरा अब पर्सनल असिस्टेंट हो गया ना, क्योंकि मेरे फ़ोन में है. इट इज़ रिस्पॉन्डिंग टू ओनली माई वॉइस. ठीक है. तो उसका क्या मतलब हुआ ना कि इट इज़ एडजस्टिंग बेस्ड ऑन माई ओन स्टेट. जैसे इट इज़ रिस्पॉन्डिंग टू माई कमांड्स, है ना. तो दिस इज पर्सनल असिस्टेंट, यू कैन कॉल इट EVA. द मेन keyword here is emotional. It should be emotionally intelligent. It should be able to understand ki what the other person is feeling and respond in an emotional way. So that is the keyword. V is virtual. EVP is na emotional virtual personal assistance. Virtually it's like, it's not a human na, it's a virtual assistant. ठीक है. इट कैन बी एनी ऑटो ट्यूटर, जैसे मैंने अभी ट्यूटोरियल का एग्जांपल दिया. तो इट इज़ अ वर्चुअल असिस्टेंट, इट्स नॉट अ पर्सन. ठीक है. सो इनके how do we develop these EVAs? So firstly, we need, for any kind of machine learning or deep learning system, we need data. So we need to collect, prepare data. ठीक है. Second step is modeling. Model में we can go for any ML, any deep learning algorithm. ठीक है, कुछ भी ऐसा कर सकते हैं. देन रजिस्टर. रजिस्टर का मतलब क्या होता है? देखो, रजिस्टर का मतलब होता है टू राइट डाउन समवेयर. ठीक है. टू क्या बोलते हैं ना उसको, लॉग करना, या फिर टू राइट डाउन. अब बोलते हो ना कि ओके लेट मी राइट दिस डाउन, मैं अपने नोट्स में लिख लेती हूँ मैंने क्या किया है. सो वंस, सो एक्चुअली एग्जाम्पल इज गिटहब. सो हियर ऑन गिटहब, if you have used GitHub or come across any repositories, so basically आपने कुछ मॉडल बनाया and you have stored it somewhere. आपने अपने लिए उसका स्नैपशॉट लेके रख लिया. सो रजिस्टर इज डिफरेंट वर्जन्स इन्वॉल्व हो सकते हैं उसमें. आपने जैसे आर यू TA? सो आई एम एक्चुअली येस, बट आई एम अ PMRF TA for this course. I'm not the other TA. So my duty is just to take these live sessions and discuss the problems. Yes, sure. My email I will be sharing in the text box. So but in case you have any doubts, so I would say that I would recommend you that you ask on the discussion forum actually, because that would be more helpful for every other student, and other TAs can also help you out. Okay, so what you can also do is you can comment under the video, YouTube video as well. So if you have any doubts related to whichever lecture, so it will be also easier for me to understand that what exactly point are you talking about. You can also mention the timestamp और ये सब, है ना. हाँ हाँ, मैं करती हूँ अभी, लिंक शेयर करती हूँ. जस्ट लेट मी कंप्लीट दिस एंड देन आई विल स्विच द टैब एंड एवरीथिंग. ठीक है. सो प्रिपेयर डेटा, मॉडल, रजिस्टर. ठीक है. रजिस्टर मतलब आपने एक बार इसको स्टोर कर लिया. देन डिप्लॉय मतलब यू हैव क्रिएटेड समथिंग, आपने उसको रख लिया हुआ है अपने नोटबुक में, कर लिया नोट. डिप्लॉय मतलब एक्चुअली प्रोडक्ट आपने लॉन्च कर दिया हुआ है. देन मॉनिटर, टेक द फीडबैक कि क्या प्रॉब्लम्स आर देयर, व्हाट कैन बी इम्प्रूव्ड. ठीक है. रीट्रेन. रीट्रेन मतलब टेकन द फीडबैक, फिर आपको लगा कि नहीं इसमें ये फीचर ऐड करना है या फिर माइनस करना है या फिर चेंज करना है, सो यू कैन रीट्रेन द होल मॉडल. ठीक है. देन व्हाट आर द चैलेंजेस फेस्ड? द कोर पार्ट इज बीइंग building empathetic, so it involves interpreting complex ambiguous signals. Emotions are subtle, can be masked, misinterpretations can be there, cultural linguistic individual differences can be there. The accuracy is a big challenge. ठीक है. Also for real time systems low latency चाहिए होती है, sensors model efficient usage चाहिए, fast inference चाहिए. So real time processing is a challenge. Then there are some concerns, privacy concerns. ऐसा नहीं है कि Alexa is constantly listening to my conversation, whatever I'm स्पीकिंग, मैं अपने रूम में बैठी हूँ अपने ऑफिस में, देयर इज सम कॉन्फिडेंशियल गोइंग ऑन, डिस्कशन गोइंग ऑन, एंड देन इट कैन सेंड द डेटा टू अमेजोन हेड क्वार्टर्स और जो भी हो रहा है, ठीक है, इट शुड नॉट बी द केस। या फिर क्लाउड पे जा रहा है, रास्ते में से कोई भी ट्रैक कर सकता है, कोई हैकर ट्रैक कर सकता है और कोई भी एक्सीडेंटली कुछ भी सेंड कर सकती है। सो इट शुड बी टेकन केयर ऑफ। देन इमोशनल मैनिपुलेशन, मतलब यू से दैट यू नो आई एम नॉट फीलिंग वेल, तो देन तो एलेक्सा बोलती है कि यू शुड बाय दिस बुक, बाय दिस एटॉमिक हैबिट्स, बाय दिस ऑथर। तो मे बी you will realize कि there is a tie up going on, कि every time a person is sad it is recommending the same book just to make the sales go up, ठीक है, it is a business model, so which should not be the case ideally, है ना। So one thing, bias and discrimination might be like in case of let's say facial expression systems, recognition systems, so अगर वो model is trained on data from American people, so it might not work for Indian people because Indian people might have different skin tones, ठीक है, for maybe African people it won't work, तो bias can be there in the data, so we should always take care of these factors and try to mitigate, try to remove the bias as much as possible. Last is that we have some ethical, legal and social implications of this affective computing. So ethical implication means that privacy intrusion can be there, ठीक है, ethical means related to what is right, what is wrong, है ना, so informed consent should be there, like they should know, I should know what I am signing up for. Emotional manipulation जैसे मैंने बोला, it shouldn't be there. Emotional deception can be there, ठीक है, and addiction or over dependence, some people might be a lot more dependent on these systems than, like let's say a person is introvert and they don't want to um, talk to the, डिसेप्शन मीन्स धोखा देना, ठीक है, सो दिस डिसेप्शन मीन्स जो अपनी ट्रू कैपेबिलिटीज है, लाइक इट्स नॉट डिस्क्लोजिंग व्हाट द डेटा इज़ बीइंग यूज्ड फॉर, या फिर कोई ऐसा मॉडल है वो बोलता है कि आई एम जस्ट लिसनिंग टू यू एंड नॉट रिकॉर्डिंग योर वीडियो, बट देर इज सम काइंड ऑफ सेंसर विच इज़ ऑल्सो रिकॉर्डिंग माई वीडियो, सो यू आर नॉट डिस्क्लोजिंग व्हाट इज़ गोइंग ऑन बैक एंड पे, या फिर डेटा इज़ गोइंग, आप प्रॉमिस कर रहे हो कि डेटा इज़ नॉट गोइंग एनीवेयर एंड डेटा यू आर सेंडिंग, यू आर selling the data to some third party, this is also deception. Deception means धोखा देना, ठीक है, so in case of these systems it is also very important to make sure that the systems are complying to all of the standards and everything. Addiction में क्या हो सकता है, that जैसे मान लो कि I do not like to talk to a lot of people, I'm very introvert, and then I find a system, like let's say I'm talking to Alexa the whole day, तो one day अमेज़ॉन ने बोला आई वॉन्ट मेक एलेक्सा एनी मोर, ठीक है, तो अब आई एम वेरी मच डिपेंडेंट ऑन एलेक्सा, मतलब फॉर इमोशनल डिपेंडेंसी मेरी बन चुकी है, विच इज़ अ रॉन्ग थिंग, मतलब इट शुडंट बी देयर। इम्प्लीकेशन का मतलब ये नहीं है कि उसमें वो बुरी चीज़ है, इम्प्लीकेशन मीन्स दैट इट कैन बी अ पॉसिबिलिटी दैट दिस सिचुएशन माइट अकर, ठीक है। देन लीगल, अब जैसे मान लो कि किसी का डेटा लीक हो गया, some data is leaked, some मतलब इमोशनल डेटा, लेट्स से हेल्थ रिलेटेड डेटा है एंड मेडिकल डेटा है, मेंटल हेल्थ वाला डेटा है, यू डोंट वांट टू डिस्क्लोज दिस इन्फॉर्मेशन, दिस इज मच प्राइवेट इन्फॉर्मेशन, तो who is liable, who can be held accountable for this? Let's say this brand, मतलब this agent has recorded and sent my data, तो अब जो कंपनी होगी ना दैट इज़ रिस्पॉन्सिबल, सो दीज थिंग्स शुड ऑल्सो बी क्लैरिफाइड इन द वेरी बिगिनिंग, क्योंकि बाद में जाके वो कंपनी बोले कि आई एम नॉट रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर दिस, आई ऑलरेडी टोल्ड यू, या वी डिड नॉट डिस्कस इट एनीवेयर, इट्स नॉट रिटन एनीवेयर, सो दिस शुड बी टेकन केयर ऑफ, ठीक है। लेट्स से एन एग्जाम्पल इज अ रोबोट केयर गिवर इन अ सीनियर फैसिलिटी स्टोर्स इमोशनल पैटर्न्स ऑफ this elderly patients. If this data is hacked or sold, the organization may feel legal consequences, ठीक है। then the social implication, जो अभी तक हम सोच रहे थे कि changing nature of human interaction, it is making people drift away from the social setting, मतलब you are just talking to something which is not even अब बोलो कि उसको सच में इमोशंस नहीं है, जस्ट प्री प्रोग्राम्ड रोबोट ओनली, थोड़ा स्मार्ट वाला है बट इट इज़ स्टिल अ रोबोट. ठीक है. सो धीरे धीरे तो सोसाइटी का डायनेमिक वुड बी चेंजिंग. कल्चरल सेंसिटिविटी मतलब इसको ये पता होना चाहिए, एजेंट्स शुड नो दैट विच things to say in front of which cultured people. Let's say I gave you an example, you look bigger. Now it is not a good, it is not, it might not be considered good in certain cultures, certain countries, which is, but it is, might be taken as a compliment in some certain situations. ठीक है. Then comes social bias and discrimination. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि this model is not working or taking the command of a black person, क्योंकि उसको it is not able to capture the characteristic because it is not able to, it was not trained on that data. ठीक है. तो data is the रूट कॉज ऑफ एवरीथिंग. आपने जैसा डेटा दोगे मॉडल वैसा ही बनेगा. फिर आता है इम्पैक्ट ऑन एम्प्लॉयमेंट. सो इमोशनली अवेयर these models and everything, they can just not replace actually, but still it can impact the job scenario. Then trust and deception. If the robot is like very well able to simulate the emotions, so you might think that, oh, this person is really this robot is actually very emotional, so it will get emotional. But other, actually it is not emotional, it is just mimicking the emotions, है ना. it is not emotionally uh, उसको कोई नर्वस सिस्टम नहीं है, इट्स जस्ट प्री प्रोग्राम्ड ओनली, बट देन यू माइट बिकम वेरी डिपेंडेंट ऑन दैट. सो स्टूडेंट्स लाइक एग्जाम्पल एक टीचर है विच इज़ हाईली एम्पैथेटिक, एंड द स्टूडेंट माइट फील कन्फ्यूज कि ये जेन्युइनली केयर कर रहा है या प्री प्रोग्राम्ड रिस्पॉन्सेज है. ठीक है. सम गुड प्रैक्टिसेस while using these affective systems are data handling should be proper, like using encryption, anonymization, secure storage. फिर consent should be taken. Clear cut बताओ कि what the data is going to be used for. User friendly consent forms. Design transparency कि इसमें क्या हो रहा है, कौन से सेंसर लगे हैं, what the system is able to do. ठीक है. Emotionally. Cultural डिज़ाइन. सो ग्लोबल ऐसे डिज़ाइन बनाने चाहिए या फिर फॉर डिफरेंट cater to different audience, so it should be mentioned properly. Regulation should be there. There should be some regulating body or policy makers or stakeholders should be responsible for something, and ethical boards should be there. ठीक है. I think we have covered many topics. It was not possible for me to cover a lot of topics in this 2 hour session, but I still tried to cover as many concepts as possible. So let me just share the link you have been waiting for. Please give me just one time. Okay. YouTube. So can you just try to open this link, Sherry? Okay, pattern of the paper is, I think last time also I asked the TAs. I think it is very similar. It is going to be similar to the assignment pattern. However, I'm not sure. So you should also ask the same questions from the team. So mail them either or post on discussion forum. My lectures are extra, that means? So my lectures are different from the, like different ऐसा नहीं है. I am covering the same topics from the course. It's just that it is more detailed and it is more like a problem solving approach. तो previous year assignment questions जो हैं, so we used to solve those questions, and mostly the content is then covered in those topics. Some extra topics might also be there. but I would highly recommend you to go through the live sessions. So if I see your lectures, I am not saying that I have covered everything from the course, but a lot of content has been covered. So I would still recommend you go through the video lectures on the this NPTEL portal. ठीक है? um, Thank you so much, Sherry. The only way that is what I'm telling you कि I have tried to cover as many possible this topics, but sometimes I cannot say कि मैंने पूरा ही cover कर दिया हुआ है. So just try go check the NPTEL lectures. Okay, one trick I can share with you is that you can also go check the transcripts. ठीक है, ट्रांसक्रिप्ट्स में क्या होता है ना, इट इज़ वेरी ईजी टू गो थ्रू कि टॉपिक कौन सा चल रहा है, एंड देन यू कैन स्पॉट द कीवर्ड्स कि कौन कौन से टॉपिक्स आर कवर्ड. ऑल्सो यू कैन जस्ट फास्ट फॉरवर्ड इट एंड लुक एट द स्लाइड्स. सो स्लाइड्स में जो टॉपिक्स मैंशनड है ना, so you can just google or use chat gpt or use my lectures to understand those topics well. ठीक है, सो देन आई थिंक इट शुड बी फाइन. मोस्टली देखो उससे बाहर कहीं नहीं आता है. तो माई लेक्चर्स आई वोंट से कि इट विल बी इनफ, आई कैन नॉट प्रॉमिस यू दैट, बट टू अंडरस्टैंड अ कॉन्सेप्ट, इट इज़ इफ इट इज़ कवर्ड इन माई लेक्चर, आई थिंक आई कैन हेल्प यू विद दैट ओनली. ठीक है, सो थैंक यू. I think it will be MCQ. It won't be essay type, but I'm still not sure. Last time again, some students asked me when I was taking the live session, so I contacted the team. So they told me that the questions are going to be same format as the assignment questions. So since the assignment questions are MCQs, so I suppose that it is going to be MCQ based. ठीक है, मार्क्स आई एम नॉट अवेयर ऑफ कि कितने मार्क्स का होगा या कब होगा. आई थिंक इट इज़ गोइंग टू बी ऑफलाइन, है ना, तो क्वेश्चंस वगैरह का मुझे इतना आइडिया नहीं है. सो आई वुड सजेस्ट यू कि आप टीम से एक बार कांटेक्ट कर लो, दैट वुड बी मच बेटर. ऑनलाइन है, सो नॉट श्योर. आई मीन इजंट देयर एनी, वो क्या बोलते हैं, देयर इज़ सम डेडिकेटेड सेंटर और सो. एक्चुअली I'm not responsible for all this एग्ज़ाम्स एंड ऑल. हाँ हाँ हाँ, तो कांटेक्ट कर लो आप टीम को. देर मस्ट बी सम ईमेल एड्रेस फॉर द मे बी सम TAs और डिस्कशन फोरम में या फिर NPTEL टीम. सो यू देर मस्ट बी सम email for support or something. You can just post your queries there. They will be able to answer. So I don't have the authority, I'm not associated, so I cannot answer your questions related to the exams. Okay, great. So let's end the session, and tomorrow I'm going to discuss some previous year questions from the week 12, and I hope if you have time, please join the session 6 to 8 tomorrow. Okay, so now I think it's time to, yeah, bye. Thank you so much for joining.